Most traders are lost right now, chasing hype, missing key entries, and bleeding money. And today, we made some strategic trades on Tesla, AMD, and even BBAI is setting up for something big. Now, if you've been struggling to find trades with real potential, this might be exactly what you need and what you've been looking for. So let me show you guys what we saw, how you can start spotting some of these moves in the markets before the crowd. And we just wrapped up our daily live trading session where I break down a lot of these trades live. And if you ever want to be there, it's the second link in the description to watch me trade live. That will get you in. So make sure to have some extra patience in the markets right now when things are volatile. We're looking for this 18% margin for profit, really about a 17 or 18% margin for profit on Tesla, TSLL. And it sold down yesterday after an entry. But I was like, let's just be patient because overall it really hasn't broken its pattern. And we even saw it bounce on this previous support here that has acted as support many times. And honestly, there's a lot of reasons to be bullish. We got improving net income. We have growing values of the Optimus robot, but also the full self-driving. And there's not a lot of negative things, even recently having some of the conversation being a little bit less of a verbal attack on each other between the president and Elon. So not too bad for TSLL. So essentially 15 to 20% margin for profit. Said let's weather this 2 to 3% here of downside and see. And luckily it's playing out that way. We see it get back, hold that true pattern and get back in here. So we're basically starting this trade from scratch here again. So we're going to be looking, we'll have a little more risk management or a little bit more temperance. And then we're looking for that margin of profit up there above that $14 price range. And how did we do it? Well, we've been looking at these dips at market open. The other move here, we saw BBAI started the day off with a little bit of green. And then we see it, let's see where is it at now? Oh yeah, okay. So it started the day off with some red, and then it looked super volatile. So right here, we can see right here at market open, started off, it was red, it pushed up super green for a minute there, and then it sold down. So you see it shoot up to that 421 and then sell as low as 394 before recovering. So we've watched these levels pretty consistently with Big Bear, where it has this resistance at about $4.15. And that's where it kind of pushed up today and got rejected. And now it's back down here. But the overall trend with Big Bear, we're kind of looking for this move, this type of swing to take place, getting back into this full trend since April, finding rising support levels at $2.40. So when it comes to the things that are driving BBAI right now, there's a couple main indicators. Yes, there is the increased positions from BlackRock, from State Street in the institutions, no doubt about it. But when we look at Big Bear, the overall market, you have things that are working in the favor, right? You have the potential Fed rates cut, maybe not today in the meeting, but definitely coming up here soon. Then you have the recent news just yesterday. They have their deployment of passenger processing biometric technology at major ports of entry and the U.S. international airports. Guys, look at this. They're actually now talking about the airports at which they're deployed. And this is so good because a lot of the time I'm hearing from you guys, hey, I was just in LA and I saw Big Bear, or I was just flying through Denver, I saw it. And I just saw it in Texas or whatever. And I'm looking at your comments. Someone even said SFO, which isn't mentioned here. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this person's saying it. I just got a comment here. Someone sent me a message on Instagram. You guys DM me sometimes. You say, hey, well, I just saw this technology over here. This is here. I'm looking at the text and I'm saying, okay, that's what people are telling me. And all these new airports all over the place. You got Chicago. You got Los Angeles. You got Port of Seattle. You got Montreal, Trudeau International Airport, you got Vancouver, so in Canada, you got Heathrow. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, all these different airports, they're not announcing it. They are not announcing it. So we know something. We knew something before everybody else. We knew this article and these things right here for the last few months. Literally. So we've been traveling, we've been having our pulse on it. And so from a news perspective, in the travel and trade side of things, when it comes down to this very scan technology, which I think is one of their biggest advantages. Yes, it's pretty cool and it's technology that people look at, but we've seen it in more airports and we've actually been on the pulse of the usage. So when it comes down to the market, we see their financials that they have some growth potential here in the near term. But what is the important thing to look at in the market? Yes, you like the revenues, the profits, but what are we really looking for? We're really looking for that real world usage. And with BBAI, we're seeing that real world usage. It's changing the way people chew gum. I gotta pull up actually the quote. It's like Warren Buffett says, let's just search it. Let's say, way I chew gum. Doesn't he say something like that? He says, I look for businesses in which I can predict what they're going to look like in 10 to 15 years' time. Take Wrigley's chewing gum. I don't think the internet is going to change how people chew gum. And then when asked about it, he says, well, he said he was wrong about that and that he did find that the internet very much changed the way that people chew gum. But he looks for businesses that change the way that people chew gum. What does that mean? It means things that are so impactful in a market perspective, down to the nitty gritty. Like Starbucks, for example. The reason years ago was a good investment is because if I'm chewing gum, I got to take out my gum to take a sip of coffee. So same thing is true with Big Bear. Hey, what's going on with Big Bear? I have to go ahead and they say, hold still, sir, please don't move your jaw, please don't blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there and they're like, don't chew your gum. So what's happening here? So you have that in place. On top of the movements with Big Bear, how many of you guys have actually seen it in person? Let me know. But also on top of that, when we look at the financials, and we're kind of a tangent there, but basically when we looked at the financials, we saw revenue like just only 5% year-over-year growth. But what we're going to look for is more contracts. We see their employees increasing. We see that they have, yes, a lot of hype articles. So like, watch out. I don't like that. But when we look at their balance sheet, we know that they recently reduced their debt. So they reduce their debt even more, and you see the total liability shrinking while the total assets are going up. And that's exactly that. Those are like the key indicators that would actually make sense. Like so many times I'm brought companies that someone says, Will, this is the next stock. And there's all these hype articles, and it's being compared and touted by all these YouTubers about how they are this special new company and everything else. And we look at the financials and they have like huge negative net income, and the balance sheet is just massively lopsided with way more liabilities than total assets. I mean, there are certain principles that people and investors, they don't go through, and they tell you this is the next thing. And I'll never tell you this stock's going to make you a millionaire. I'm not going to tell you that. But almost every post I see on YouTube or whatever, people are saying like, this is the millionaire maker. Have you ever seen 100x stock? This is your ticket to financial freedom or whatever. But no, the number one thing we have to look at is the principles of why it would go up. And then we still don't know that it's 100x. We just enter and have an investing plan for it. It is, yes, it's like the further out you go, the harder or the easier it is to predict. But the shorter term you go, the more you have to have your research. So when you're an investor and trader, you got to look at those things. Okay, so I don't mean to throw shade or anything like that. Actually, I do. I don't watch a lot of other YouTube videos, but sometimes I watch videos. And I was just getting a little upset, honestly, at how they were talking to their audience about, like, you have to buy this before it's too late. Like, if you, like, literally, like, you're an idiot if you don't buy this. I can't imagine that. Okay, if we're talking about buying an iPhone versus buying Apple stock, then yeah, maybe I'll get on my audience like, guys, you need to buy at least as much Apple stock as you spent your iPhone. Like, there are idiots out there that spend all their money on the product and never buy the actual stock or the company it shows is going to go up. Like, I understand that, but when people are like, you haven't heard of this? Oh, okay. Anyway, I'm not going to go into it. Actually, I already went into it. Like, Will, you already went into it. All right, I get it. But this is what we're looking at here with Big Bear and also with Tesla, right? That's why we're trading it this morning. We're looking for this swing. So TSLL is up 4%. I don't know that we're really up all that much. $10. They're up $10, but it's getting into the green there, as you can see, starting to maybe make that 20% swing. It's really not even up 1% or anything like that. But with BBAI, we'll be trading it today as well. And what we're going to look for really in BBAI is the next move, if it makes it. Not to say that it's going to make it right this second, but I would expect that we're going to see this swing up in these previous resistance levels. We know it's made that run to $10. There was a lot of hype in the overall market, and then the whole market had a lot of sell-offs. But recently, we start to see it get back in these levels. It's similar to when we started covering it back in October. The moves are these gradual increases, these gradual buildups of market cap, and the trends are just as similar, and the frequency in which they're announcing new contracts and things like that is also just as frequent. So what we're going to look for in the event, conservatively, it retests down to 385. It's possible. It just retested it today, so maybe that was the retest. But we're looking for this swing up into these levels. It's the bullish outlook. It's the continuation of the trend. It's about a 27% increase on Big Bear AI. And margins for a profit, if we're in that 30% range, maybe managing risk somewhere around here when we buy it, and looking for even this greater swing up into these levels of these $5 to $7 ranges. That's when you get into the 70% margin for profit to potentially over 100% if we get up to previous highs that we saw back in February. So we're looking for this swing. We'll be watching it closely. For those of you guys that would like to watch us trade live and see our entries and our exits, and if any opportunities present themselves that we trade this in our morning session, we just wrapped up our session, super productive. Great time. There's tons of stock mates that are in there that are bringing great ideas and that we're trading together. And we're talking about long-term plays as well. And if you ever want to be there, it's the second link in the description. There's a huge sale there. It's not getting any better than this. In fact, we're most likely removing the lifetime access here in the near term because that was just a quarterly kind of offer. So lifetime access will be going away. It'll be back to yearly. If you want to take advantage of it, again, we got a link for you, a special link in the second link down below in the description of this video. If you guys enjoyed and I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.